recent interview on Sean Hannity's show, Donald Trump was asked about the investigations he's facing, one of which was a criminal investigation that seems to have come to a halt. Another is a civil investigation into potential financial fraud. What does he think about all this stuff? Well, let's hear from him.
I've gone through in 5 years more investigations than Al Capone, Jesse James, and Billy the Kid put together. If I fly over a Democrat state in my airplane, I end up before a grand jury. It's a disgrace. And you know what? The people of this country aren't going to take it. They're just not going to take it. They've weaponized law enforcement, essentially. They've weaponized the AGs in the states and the attorney generals and the district attorneys. And I mean, it's such a horrible thing that they're doing. And I just don't think the people of the country are going to take it. But I just, based on past, I think probably nothing will happen.
So there were elements of that I disagreed with, but the overall message of, I don't think anything's gonna happen, I agree with. I think that is likely to be the outcome of any investigation that is currently ongoing. That doesn't mean that I believe that Trump is innocent. You have his own former personal lawyer testifying under oath that Trump would inflate the value of his assets in order to obtain loans and insurance, that's financial fraud. And then he would deflate his assets in order to evade taxes, which is also fraud. Those are two things that we would go to prison for. We would be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law, we would go to prison. But Donald Trump has been told multiple times that he's above the law. He is surrounded by enablers. And it's so frustrating to see it, Dr. Ritchie, because there have been some cases where Democrats tried to hold him accountable, but they needed cooperation from Republicans who will not hold him accountable. And now the AG investigations, I'm a little concerned about as well. We'll get to that later, but what do you think?
I think the reason why Donald Trump is not going to jail today is the same reason he did not go to jail before he was president of the United States. The reality is Trump deserved prison before he ever ran for president, okay? So this is not just about the institution of the presidency. It is definitely compounded because he was president of the United States. But let's be very clear about Donald Trump's financial crimes. He committed these financial crimes even before he thought about running for president. He was given a pass. Why? Because he has experienced actually being above the law. And you're right, it was routine for him to manipulate assets in order to obtain loans, which by the way is fraudulent, as you said, it's illegal and he can't be prosecuted. But the issue remains, he thinks he's the massive victim in all of this. And that's the way he promotes himself. But this cat has more than 9 lives. Now, here's where we are. Because at this point, Biden's in control, right? Biden selected the AG. They can go after Trump, but they won't. They will act like they will, but they won't do it. Even the Manhattan DA, by the way, whom I'm so damn disappointed in.
Yes, Alvin Bragg. Yes, talk about it. So disappointed
because they had him. They had him in such a corner that the prosecutors quit when they saw the writing on the wall that the powerful, they are going to protect the powerful. And I don't know what it is. Hell, maybe they got something on the DA. But at some point, somebody has to stand up for this country, stand up for the community, stand up for right. Because if you let Donald Trump get back into office, you can kiss the country as you know it goodbye. And if he does, Anna, if he does, if Democrats let this happen, if individuals who had an opportunity to do something about it, if they let this happen, you get the country you deserve. You get the country you deserve. Because Biden has shown us that Democrats are willing to get power and then tell you how they can't use it. One thing about Republicans is this: Republicans, you got to take a script out of their playbook. They know how to get power, retain power, and exhibit power. even when they do it for evil. Democrats know how to beg for power, tell you if you give them power, they will change things. And when you give them power to change things, they tell you for 4 years, they actually don't have the power to change things. You think somebody's gonna show back up for you?
Yes. God, it was like cathartic listening to you talk about this because it's so true. It really is. I mean, a story we covered recently, it might have been this week, the panel investigating January 6th has said on multiple occasions that they have evidence proving Trump's criminality. In addition to that, you have a federal judge who wrote an opinion regarding subpoenas that were being ignored, documentation that the panel was demanding. In his decision, his ruling, he specified that Trump very well, likely committed crimes, okay? So the question is, now is the select panel going to refer criminal charges to the Department of Justice? And they are split on that. So like, let me just say, I don't want to hear about your evidence proving criminality if you're not gonna do a damn thing about it.
That's right.
If you're not gonna do anything about it, what the hell is the point? And tell me what you think. This is my theory. I feel like the panel is under the assumption that this is all just like a little political game. It's not really about holding Trump accountable for what happened on January 6th. It's really just about having something to campaign on for the midterms. Because otherwise, what is the point? Like, what is this exercise really about if you're not going to refer criminal charges to the Department of Justice?
It's political theater. It's political theater. That's what this is. And they talk a really great game, but here's what they don't realize. While they're playing house, the other side is not. They tried to overthrow the government, okay? They tried to stop a constitutionally mandated process. And when the guy who was down with them for 4 years, Mike Pence, said, hey, the Constitution does not empower me to do this, they said, hang Mike Pence. And if somebody would have caught up with them, it probably would have happened. Now, this is the character of their movement. I know they like to talk about Black Lives Matter and maybe a protest that got out of hand. That's not the character of the movement. Their character is violent. The character of their movement is rooted in violence and disguised as patriotism. There's a reason why so many cops and military officials and elected officials stormed that Capitol and committed acts of violence against the United States government. It's a reason why Democrats are playing political theater. And let me break it down this way. Democrats have always assumed that somehow democracy will always be civilized. We've been lucky in America. Look at democracies across this planet. In order to get to the democracy and to maintain the democracy, there has typically been chaos like this on a semi-routine basis. We have been lucky in America. We are not so lucky right now. We are in a space where we are appointing and electing dinosaurs in the Democratic Party. Not dinosaurs by age, but dinosaurs of mentality. We are in a perilous, radical time, which requires radical leadership in order for us to get a win.
That's so true. It really is. I mean, unfortunately, I think Biden, he fits the definition of dinosaur in both ways. But mentally speaking, like he definitely was under the assumption that, hey, I mean, I've worked with these Republican lawmakers my entire adult life. So I know how to persuade them. I know how to make deals. I know how to work with them. But he forgot that we're living in a different political era. And it's a shame that he forgot because not too long ago, he was in Obama's administration as vice president while the Republican Party obstructed and fought any progress, any legislation coming from the Democratic Party tooth and nail. He knows that. So either he just forgot or he was lying to us. And now we see exactly what we predicted. We don't have a Republican Party that's interested in working together, reaching across the aisle to legislate. They're not interested in solving problems. You're absolutely right. All this nonsense about civility, look, I don't want people to get needlessly vicious with one another. But I think the climate that we're experiencing right now, with the Republican Party carrying out the viciousness that we've seen, I think it's a time for Democrats to actually fight back. And the unwillingness to do that it's just, not only is it embarrassing, it's shameful. And it's the Democratic Party abandoning the very people who trusted them enough to put them in those positions of power. And they are not carrying out what they're supposed to be carrying out. They are not fighting back. And there's the debate about whether or not it's because of their campaign donors and how they're paid to lose, or whether it's because they're genuinely weak. I think it's both. We've seen weakness from the Democratic Party for quite some time now. And the people who end up paying the price for that are people like us.
Yep.
Not them. They're fine.
That's right. And this is why a two-party system is just so horrible. Two-party systems hurt people, okay? Everyday people, because none of us exist as binary, right? We exist in nuance, we exist on a spectrum. So when we have a two-party system, they take advantage of that. The two-party system is really for corporations to easily buy off both sides. I mean, it would be difficult if they had an 80+ party system like the Philippines or something, right? We don't have that in America, okay? And then we have the ability for unlimited money to influence elections. Well, other countries don't have that either. We have that here in the United States of America. Remember something about Biden, because I think it's quite interesting that Biden continues to overinflate his ability. Biden didn't even convince us to vote for him. You know who convinced us to vote for Biden? Trump did.
Totally.
We voted for Biden because Trump was running. If they would have found another Republican, a Republican would probably be president right now. But we voted against Donald Trump, and Biden was a contrast to Trump, and Biden figured out how to campaign on a few progressive policies. He could at least do that and adopt some of those measures, not all of them, obviously not even most of them. But once again, he's an institutionalist. Biden is an institutionalist. He believes there's something sacred about that presidency. If there was ever anything sacred about that presidency, it left with Donald Trump. There is nothing sacred about that presidency. The only thing left that's sacred are the people who voted for you to be there. And if you don't protect that sacredness, good riddance to you. And that goes for every politician in this country. The last sacred thing left in our democracy is the voter who put you in position to change things.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, I really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.